Hello race fans and welcome to the penultimate round of the World Touring Car Series live here on RaceSpotTV. We have headed north of the border here in the United Kingdom to Knockhill Racing Circuit in Fife in Scotland, a circuit so rich in touring car history and a perfect venue to host the penultimate round of this season. It's Peter Mackay here alongside Paul Smith in the RaceSpotTV commentary booth. And Paul, what a run to the end of the year this is going to be. 3 drivers separated by just 13 points at the top of the Pro Championship. It's so close.
It is really close. It's an absolute sensational end to the championship, and one that I'm glad I'm on this side of the camera rather than behind the wheel for this series, because it has been a thrill ride to watch all the way through the championship.
It has indeed. Well, the 3 protagonists, Kieran Harrison, Ross McFarlane and defending champion Corentin Guinness, are so tightly matched on points. But this is the schedule that we've seen throughout the championship, kicking off at the Red Bull Ring all the way back in January. Then we went through the Hockenheim Ring in Monza to complete our European tour. Then it was off stateside to the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, Mosport, and the Sebring International Raceway, with the Nürburgring bringing us back to Europe for the half-season point. Then it was Suzuka, Interlagos and Watkins Glen before heading to Magny-Cours today here at Knockhill Racing Circuit, and in 1 week's time we will crown our champion at the National Circuit at Silverstone. Points at the moment are led by your defending champion Corentin Guinness, with his SimRC teammate Kieran Harrison just 8 points behind. Former champion Ross McFarlane sits just 13 points in arrears, setting up a fantastic championship showdown. Norbert Leitner's had a superb season as well in 4th. David Baker ever steady in 5th position. Wojciech Savidovic, it's been eventful for Wojciech, that's for sure, the last few rounds. Szilard Nagy sits in 7th, then it's Sam Blees, Miguel Freitas and Esteban Rodriguez. In the AM class, well, Dan Martin really has been the reference. He leads by 48 points from Craig Williams, who is not here tonight, so a chance for Dan Martin to open up the gap a little bit more. Andreas Gilman sits in 3rd, Richard Simner is 4th, and David Mulqueen rounds out the top 5. Mike Pollard is in 6th, then it's Stuart Bickley, Matthias Bentola, Rob Sutherland and James Parker. In the Pro team standings, it's SimRC that lead the way over their arch rivals Pure Sims Esports by 167 points. Then it's Impulse Racing Walder, Hydro Race Geodesic, Forumote Podcast, Semper Racing, CSS in Urano, RD Sim Sport, Pure Sim SimLab and Impulse Racing Sim Racing Cockpit round out the top 10. In the Pro-Am team standings, well, DCW Racing Yellow have started to grow a gap over their stablemates at DCW Racing, the blue team. iRace Esports are 3rd, with Pistana Nomad, Wiskins Racing, Ignia Motorsports, FRS VTEC and Joy Sports round out the 8-team field in the Pro-Am standings. Well, we have just under 2 minutes of qualifying left as the cars leap their way over the famous Knockhill chicane. And it's Kieran Harrison who has the fastest time on the board at the moment by just 99 thousandths of a second from Ross McFarlane, local boy from Edinburgh just down the road, and Corentin Guinness rounds out that top 3. So we've got our 3 championship protagonists, Paul, right there in that top 3.
And as it should be as well. I mean, this is exactly what we want, is to see these 3 be able to duke it out on track throughout the rest of this championship and decide it on the track. We don't want it decided in the steward's room or anything like that. We want that decided out there in front of us for all to see. Important note as well about this round of the championship: this is the last round that you can take a drop score at. The final round of the championship, it's whatever points count towards your final total.
Very important to remember for that championship chase. Wojciech Savidovic going very wide off into the gravel on the exit of the chicane there. Kieran Harrison comes tearing down into Duffus Dip, nailing the curb on the inside there, and then hard on the brakes through Leslie's into the very tight right-hander of McIntyre. Then it's the fast right-hander of Butcher, setting yourself up for the chicane. You can't see a thing here. Over the curb, bang, bang, hard on the power, then up towards Clark Curve. Really tricky kind of off-camber right-hander here, trying not to hit the curb too hard on the inside, run it out to the paint there, then it's hard on the power through his slops, up the gearbox, getting ready for the long braking zone into the Jock Taylor hairpin. Always lots of spectators around here as well, trying to maintain that speed and hard on the power, point the car up the hill. Very short lap here at Knockhill, but my goodness me, is it difficult, Paul.
I've said this before we started the show. I've got the easiest job in the whole of sim racing tonight, and that is to allow Peter Mackay to talk about Knockhill for 2 hours. It's just wind him up and away he goes. But no, it is such a challenging venue as this one, and it is tricky. You can overtake around here. You know, it's a myth that you can't overtake around here. Absolute rubbish. You know, I've raced many a touring car race around here, and you can't make overtakes. It's a bit more of a thinking person's track, though, in setting people up. So yeah, it's going to be intriguing how the second and third races happen with those reverse grid draws. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to tonight.
Well, Kieran Harrison, while we rode on board with him, he actually took us on a pole-sitting lap there, improving his time to a 50.897, goes over a 10th clear of Ross McFarlane. What can Matthias Pentola do? Well, looks like he's backed out of his lap, so he will do no better than 28th on the grid as he comes around his laps. So it looks like we're all done for this qualifying session, ready to go for the first of 3 20-minute sprint races here at Knockhill Racing Circuit. Goodness me, does that make me happy to say that. The fact that this circuit exists on the iRacing platform in the virtual world for people to enjoy all over the world, it's very special indeed. Well, it will be Kieran Harrison who starts on pole position alongside Ross McFarlane, and then it's Corentin Guinez and Terje Flatten on road 2. Jack Sedgwick is the first of the Hyundai Velocitors in 5th, with Jürgen Frank starting 6th. Row 4 will be Norbert Leitner and Wojciech Suvodovic, then it's Szilard Nagy and Morgan Butler. Miguel Freitas and Andreas Gilman make an Impulse Racing row 6. Then it's Stephen Walker for Hydro Race Geodesic Racing alongside David Baker. Then it's Richard Simner and Harry Fox. Jamie Rushworth and Pete Newman are your 9th row. Rounding out the top 20 is El Neal and Hakan Ask. Then it's Damon Mulqueen, Sam Blease, Marcus Law and James Parker. Rolling off from 25th will be Carl Hardy alongside Nick Clibbins. Then it's Patrick Faulkner and Matthias Pentola. Rob Sutherland rolls off 29th and Stuart Bickley starts 30th. 31st will be Alain McCain with Neil Rocks setting the 32nd time, covering the whole field set a time by just 1.7 seconds. And the following cars not setting a time: Esteban Rodriguez, Oystein Herford, Dan Martin and Mike Pollard. So, ready to take the grid then? And the cars lined up nearly all the way back to the hairpin. It's very steep climb up the hill here at the front straightaway, and getting the car off the line if you're in certain parts of the grid, Paul, is more difficult than others.
Yeah, it's going to be really intriguing to see how they launch, but we're getting ready for the start here.
We are indeed. Barney the flagman has had his haggis and black pudding roll this morning, ready to wave the flag with vigour to set us off for race number 1. Off he goes then. Kieran Harrison from pole position leads the field down towards the first corner. Duffus dip as they head down, and Harrison's hung on to it for now. McFarlane holds on to second as well, with Guinness there in third as they come flying down the helter-skelter, the corkscrew of the north, and then towards McIntyre's very, very tight right-hander. But they all negotiate it very well, Paul.
They certainly do, and the action's going to come thick and fast, although running wide through the chicane there. It was the number 7, the Terje Flatten, then running wide through the chicane, able to hold on to the position for the time being. But yeah, good start so far for the majority of the cars, although Marcus Law and Patrick Faulkner, I think, have had an issue.
So just a low attrition in the first lap here. It can get messy occasionally in those really difficult first and second sector, but over the line then it's Harrison leads from Ross McFarlane, then it's Corentin Guinez, Terje Flatten in there, as well as the 58 of Pete Newman making a move there. The two Pure Sims SimLab cars going through before the run. Whoa, right over the curb there. A great camera shot there coming into Duffus Dip. And then hard on the power there, down through the fast right-handers of Butchers. And there, if you get put out on the wrong part of the circuit, you can just get freight trained here as well. Oh, one car off into the gravel there. It's one of the Geodesics car. Hack and ask, and look how many positions he loses there. It's just a whole heap of positions.
And the problem there is as well that you've really got to try and force your way back on, because nobody will want to let you back on, because the racing line is keeping it over to the left-hand side to open up Clark Curve. So yeah, he's really struggled. He's been hung out to dry here, and it's just an absolute swarm of cars out here on this track, and there's not a lot of space for drivers to be able to slot themselves back in. But Ask, down to 27th, 28th in this race now.
Oof, Matthias Pentler getting a little bit physical there with one of the iRace Hyundais. It's not Alain McCain, so it must be Sam Smith. Yeah, so very rough and ready there as well. Oh, one of the Hyundai Velosters off the road. Car number 173, Carl Hardy, keeps it going though. Sometimes if you keep your foot planted there, it can correct itself. But our leaders still, Harrison, McFarlane and Guinness, making a slight break from teammate Jürgen Frank, who has progressed from 6th up to 4th place. So he's managed to get past Jack Cedric on the start. Jack had a couple of difficult starts last time out. Looks like it's not quite been quite an improvement yet in this race number 1.
Taylor Flatten actually dropped down 2 places on that last lap. He was 4th place at the start of the lap, down to 6th. So something's happened to the geodesic racing driver out there on track. But yeah, I think Jürgen Frank's job here is to play rear gunner to his teammates. Like we saw him come in last week to the series, he tried to just take points away from other championship protagonists that, well, for example, Ross McFarlane. It didn't quite work out last time out for him to take those points away, but he'll be trying again just to play that team role here today for Samasi.
Yeah, it's very important to have allies up there at the front of the field if you're in the fight for the championship. It looks like Ross McFarlane is going to have to battle against his 2 main rivals, Harrison and Guinness, who both drive for SimRC, but he could well have to be dealing with Jürgen Frank at some point across the course of the day as well. Riding with Corn to Guinness, our defending champion, our Season 2 champion, Ross McFarlane, the car up ahead, was your champion in Season 1. Hard on the corner here through his lops. And this is one of the great overtaking opportunities here. And is Guinness going to try it? He shows a nose though, but that's where I think we're really going to see the overtaking manoeuvres happen, which is on the brakes from top gear down to nearly bottom gear in the hairpin.
Yeah, that is one of the main overtaking spots. Another good spot actually is if you get a good run through the chicane and then get to the inside into Clark. That's usually a good slot to make some spaces as well. If you're really close behind a car through Leslie's into McIntyre, then you can dive down the inside into McIntyre and make a move stick, but you've got to be a bit forceful with that one round here. But as I say, you can overtake around this track. It's just difficult to do. As running wide, that was Jürgen Frank.
Oh, big time, yeah, and that's just from the exit of Clark. So really trying to carry as much speed as possible out of that corner. It's very easy to run wide and dip a wheel into the gravel. He hangs on to it for now, but he's under pressure, is Jürgen Frank, from Jack Cedric in the leading Hyundai Veloster for the Craig Setup Shop team. So Andreas Gilman leads in AM at the moment. Car number 85. Oh, one of the Pures, that's Pete Newman. Car 58 off at the hairpin. Now, usually you don't go off there without a bit of assistance. So something is afoot there. Oh, well, big damage too.
Oh yeah.
Can he get it back to the pit stall for the spare car?
Yes. Yeah, unfortunately there is a free repair here in this championship, so he can get back out there and just hope for any sort of look in the reverse grid. And yeah, it's that rear quarter panel into the wall. There's not a lot of room runoff wise there on the exit, because you're not really expecting cars to go off at the side of the hairpin there, and it's just running out, the two hooked together. It's arguable if Pete had given the space, or if the other car was pinching him in a little bit. That's the questionable thing, but all we do know is that Pete Newman is the worst off car.
Oh, big time. Yep, and there is not much runoff there at all. So Kieran Harrison is escaping. Kieran Harrison is now over a second ahead as Alain McCain gets well off the road to allow the leaders to come through. But yeah, Harrison is flying here. He's just set the fastest lap of the race, a 51.132, just over a tenth of a second ahead. He's got a gap of 1.1 seconds with 13 minutes to go. So Harrison really flying. Great pace in qualifying. Harrison looks really up for this tonight.
Jack Sedgwick able to get the place on Jürgen Frank there. So Frank's just struggling a little bit with this track. You know, for the amount of sort of British drivers that we have in this series here, there's not a lot of series that actually do races around this track on iRacing, and so really a lot of these drivers may be not quite as well versed with this track as there would be, say, somewhere like Silverstone when we're going next week for the championship finale. But yeah, these drivers really having to accustom themselves, and whoever has the seat time around here will have an advantage. And whilst I'm on, I just want to say a quick mention to Andreas Gilman, 10th place for the AM driver, top AM driver, as we look to that battle for second place. He's an outside shot for that AM championship, you know, because he's had a real rich vein of form, as Andreas.
It's a great point, Paul. Yeah, he's 95 points off Dan Martin in the championship standings in the AM class. Dan Martin had a shocker of a weekend, a shocker of a race meeting, I should say, last time out at Magny-Cours. Had to start from the back today because of a qualifying ban. Well, he's in 24th place at the moment, so he has progressed about 10 places. All he can hope is to get into that reverse grid draw and then try and get a good spot for race 2 and score some points from there. But if Gilman can keep up this train of form, yes, he could put himself in an outside chance of going for the championship next week at Silverstone.
Look at how close these two are, though. This is where the experience of Ross McFarlane comes into play now. I mean, we've basically said all season that he's had to deal with these Sim RC cars, and he's been able to withstand that pressure for just every single race. His ability to keep pace under such intense pressure is real commendable for Ross. But when you look at Kieran Harrison and Corentin Guinness, they're just absolutely double teaming him here and in this championship all season long. He's had it tough there without his teammates to back him up.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you know, in the past he would have had team owner and teammate Ash Sutton racing alongside him, the British touring car, triple British touring car champion Ash Sutton, who's also an absolute demon around this place. Whenever he comes up to Knockhill, he's always certainly one of the favourites, if not the favourite, every time he comes up to the circuit for the British touring cars. And did I see today, Paul, that his good lady had a little baby? So congratulations to Team Sutton, and Pure Sims have another fan to add to the club.
Yeah, new member to the team. Won't be long before the sat behind the sim. Yeah, won't be long before the sat behind the sim. So yeah. Absolutely. Well, do you know what? There's no more scary thought than two Suttons on the grid.
Oh, goodness me. Yes. Yeah, that's it. That is a thought, isn't it? Well, McFarlane holding off Guinness for now, but Guinness looking very, very racy indeed with 9 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Kieran Harrison is increasing the gap now up to 1.6 seconds, so really clearing away at the front of the field. But Guinness getting quicker and quicker all the time. He's just set last time by Guinness 51.388. McFarlane actually a shade quicker, 51.284. But looks like Guinness is all over him here. And tell you what, if he wants to go for that move into the hairpin, Ross is, with his line that he's taken, he is leaving the door open. So you know, there is an opportunity there.
The thing is with the hairpin, it is actually quite a surprisingly short braking zone into this hairpin, because you carry the speed into the corner because the hill, it's a steep hill, is that naturally slows you down to a degree as well on mid-corner. So, you know, you can actually brake a little bit later than you imagine that you could do into that hairpin, and try and then just rotate the car, get the speed out the corner, up the hill of the finish line, and set another lap. And of course, the finish line here, quite unique. It's just before pit entry, isn't it?
It is, absolutely, yeah. So you've usually, if you get out of the hairpin first, you will be the winner. Certainly in this type of racing, and now Guinness is starting to lay on the pressure. McFarlane's being forced to go defensive. He covers that inside line, so he kind of crowd Guinness out to avoid getting the run. Here comes Guinness now, trying to get the power down that little bit earlier, but can't quite do it. Guinness is hard on the headlight flasher, trying to get the pressure on Ross McFarlane as they shoot down the hill now, back down towards Duffus Dip. But oh, I thought Guinness was going to have a lunge there at Duffus Dip. That is a move that you can do, and if you sit on the right shoulder, this is the Rory Butcher move. Oh, nearly. That is the classic Rory Butcher move there, going on the shoulder of the car, going over Duffus Dip, and then stuff it up the inside at McIntyre's. Rory pulled that one off beautifully against Andrew Jordan a couple of years ago in the British Touring Car Championship as well. So Guinness has been watching his old BTCC videos before this one.
Well, I did say, didn't I, at the start of our broadcast, talking about the overtaking spots, that is one that you can make, but you've really got to send it in there and hope that you don't make contact with the other car, because you would more than likely, having to send it in there, you'd probably more than likely get a penalty. But yeah, Guinness is looking keen now. He's backed off a little bit here. Obviously that move didn't work last time out, but there's plenty of time in this race. I mean, when you're talking about, you know, sub 1 minute laps, you know, 51 second lap around here for the top guys, they're getting plenty of laps in here, so there's plenty of opportunities still for Guinness.
Oh, the body language of these cars, just hop, skip, jumping over the curbs. Fantastic to watch. There's a touring car around Knockhill. It's a joy to behold. The circuit and the car, they just match each other perfectly. Well, Kieran Harrison, he is dominating at the front of the field. 2.3 seconds is his advantage. He was nearly half a second quicker than McFarlane. He was half a second quicker than Guinness last time by after their little skirmish. So Harrison appears to have checked out the 6 minutes to go, but second is definitely not settled yet. And Guinness is looking to try all the tricks of the trade to try and get those moves done. But yeah, McIntyre's here. This right-hander is a great opportunity to stuff it up the inside. But like you say, Paul, you've got to be 100% committed and get it just right.
Certainly do. But that chicane, that is where this Elantra really comes into its own. Around this venue, because you need to abuse the curbs around here. And the Elantra just comes into its own. It can handle curbs so well. And, I mean, when they initially launched this track on iRacing, I was showing a couple of the iRacing members of staff the proper racing line through the chicane, and they were absolutely shocked. They could not believe the line that I was taking through that chicane. That's the racing line through there.
Are you looking forward to coming up with your camera for the TCR, Paul?
Oh, yeah, I'll definitely be enjoying that one. Two-dayer, of course, it's a two-dayer.
Yes,
oh, there's the move! There's the move!
Oh, close. Very, very close there as well. Jürgen Frank hanging on by his fingernails here, under pressure from Terje Flatten, with Morgan Butler right behind Flatten, trying to put Frank under pressure. But certainly Jürgen Frank doing his job of keeping a whole host of rivals away from that leading group. It's been a great drive from Jack Sedgwick. Remember, he's really out on his own island. All of the rest of the top 10 are in Hyundai Elantras. He's the only one in the Veloster. And I mean, Paul, does the Veloster with that slightly shorter wheelbase, does it ride the curbs as well, or is it a bit more of a handful?
It's a bit more lively, is that car, so it can be a little bit more of a handful. So yeah, this definitely just is the wheelhouse of the Elantra, with it being a longer wheelbase. I do feel sorry for Matthias Penteler, the only Honda Civic driver out there. He is a bit further down than where we've seen in previous rounds, and I think it's just showing that this track isn't a Lantra track.
Seems like it. Yeah, it really does seem like it. In terms of the way the cars can manage the curbs. 3 minutes and 42 seconds to go. So coming into the closing stages of this first race of the day. Remember, race 2 and 3 coming up, both 20 minutes in length and both with a random reversed grid draw. So we will draw a number at random from the spinny wheel, and that will tell us how many cars from the order of this race that we then reverse for the grid of race 2. So if you're challenging for the AM Championship leader Dan Martin in 21st, he'll be hoping that it's a number bigger than 21 at this stage. If you're Andreas Gilman, he'll hope it's a number higher than 11, but not by much.
Yeah, it's the jeopardy of the wheel, and we love it here in this championship. Wojciech Savinovic, by the way, is into 11th place. Only it's actually lost a couple of places. Stephen Walker making the progress on Wojciech, and Andreas Gilman then was in 10th place earlier. That Impulse car, I tell you what, Impulse Racing have really sort of come alive in the second half of the season. I mean, Norbert Leitner, we normally call him sort of Mr. Race 3, don't we? I don't actually see him around here today, but yeah,
in 8th.
Oh, well, there you go. That tells you how good my eyesight is, even with his new glasses. But Norbert Leitner, you know, he is normally Mr. Race 3, isn't he? He really comes alive in that third race, and he's shown a turn of pace that they'll be very promising for Impulse Racing.
Very much so. See a note there that Rob Sutherland, very freezing at Knockhill, not fun. Well, it's always fun at Knockhill. I'll grant you. It's. I know it means virtual reality. I know. Yeah. I'm kidding. So his VR headset has frozen. That's not ideal for Rob Sutherland for RD Sim Sport. I read it as very freezing at Knockhill. It's like, well, duh, but it's still fun.
Not on a beautiful sunny day. It's not freezing.
No. Sure. I've got.
Wait, it better not be cold when I go up there in July.
It's always the right temperature in the commentary box, Paul. And we've even got a Red Bull fridge now.
Other
in the commentary box
are available.
They are, yes. Mm-hmm. I feel like filling it with another brand and taking a photograph. Actually, no, better not, since it's been provided. Better not. Just over a minute to go here in the first race of the day. Harrison leads by 3 seconds. Rarely do we see such a breakaway in race 1 on pure pace. That's quite remarkable stuff from Kieran Harrison, and ominous for his rivals Ross McFarlane and Corentin Guinness at this stage. McFarlane is holding Guinness at bay for now, and I think if he can keep Guinness behind, yes, Harrison's checked out, but that would be job done for McFarlane, I'd say.
McFarlane's got about a half a second lead over Guinness now, so he has been able to just gap out a little bit over Corentin, so able to withstand that pressure early on. Yeah, he's losing points to Kieran Harrison. That's not good in terms of the championship for Ross, but he's getting one over the championship leader, so it sort of balances out one way in his favour, but then another way not.
Yeah, I see what you mean. White flag is in the air then. Last lap here in race number 1 at Knockhill. Harrison leads by 3 seconds then. McFarlane has around 0.3 of a second from Corentin Guinness. Then there's a big old gap back to Jack Cedric, who's running a very, very lonely fourth, but fourth nonetheless. And then Jurgen Frank rounds out the top 5. Our race leader coming up now towards the Jock Taylor hairpin. And he will be your winner here in race number 1 at Knockhill. It's Kieran Harrison. He came into this round 8 points behind in the championship. He moves into a strong position in the championship chase. Ross McFarlane will try to hold off Guinness, and he does. He holds off Corentin Guinness for second position. Jurgen Frank will come home in 5th with Terje Flatt right behind him, and Morgan Butler flying over the line. Great drive from Andreas Gilman, 11th overall, and an AM class win.
Yeah, and that's crucial for Andreas, as the rest of the field are still fighting it out. This is great stuff, and I'm looking forward to races 2 and 3 tonight, because if this has been the action in race 1, well, get the popcorn ready, because things are going to really pick up in race number 2 and 3. But that was a really enjoyable first race, and yes, Kieran Harrison checked out at the front, but it was really intense, the rest of the field.
It was. It really was. Very classic Knockhill. I think on the most part, we kept it all pretty clean in that opening lap too, which is very admirable for the drivers, because it's really narrow through that opening section when you're in the big bunch. So let's see what the number is going to be for the reverse grid here at Knockhill. It's going to be 18. Oh, interesting. Okay. So for the AM Clash Championship, that's good news for Andreas Gilman, because he will make that reverse grid, and championship leader in the AM class, Dan Martin, will not. It will also mean that Kieran Harrison will start from 18th on the grid in race number 2. This is the finishing order after 24 laps here at Knockhill. Kieran Harrison wins by just over 3 seconds from Ross McFarlane and Corentin Guinness. Jack Cedric in a lonely 4th, with Jurgen Frank home in 5th place. Then it's Terry Flatten in 6th, Morgan Butler in 7th, Norbert Leitner 9th, 8th, and Stephen Walker 9th, and Wojciech Savidovic rounds out the top 10. First of the AM drivers, Andreas Gilman takes the win there, with David Baker behind him. Then it's Szilard Nagy and Jamie Rushworth. Richard Simner was second in AM, with Harry Fox right behind him. Then it was Sam Blease, Miguel Freitas, El Neil, and Damon Mulqueen finishes 4th in the AM class in 20th overall. Dan Martin climbs the order to 21st, just misses out on that reverse grid draw. Then it's James Parker, Matthias Pentola, Carl Hardy, Nick Clibbins, Sam Smith, Hackanask, Stuart Bickley, and Mike Pollard finishing on the lead lap. Then off the lead lap was the number 322 of Neil Rocks. Paddy Faulkner also finishing 1 lap down. Then the following drivers not making it to the flag: Oisin Herford, Rob Sutherland, Alan McCain, Pete Newman, Marcus Law, Esteban Rodriguez, and Tom Stanley. Fastest lap of the race, a 51.066, Paul. That is ominous pace there from Kieran Harrison.
Yeah, he's really got the pace of the field here in that opening race. But of course, when you're leading out from the front, you can sort of dictate the pace, can't you? And really try and push on. But starting 18th, it's not going to be easy to work your way through. And that's the same for Guinness, for McFarlane. Jack Sedgwick, we know, can get the elbows out and can really be a thorn in people's sides out there. So I think this could be a day where a race 2 or a race 3 could really see a different race winner here.
No question about it. Yeah, no question about it. It's going to be really, really close. And as you say, cutting through the field is fraught with risk as well. Who can manage that risk and reward ratio the best from those leading 3? I mean, coming into that race, Guinness led Harrison by 8 points. McFarlane was 13 points off the lead. With Harrison, well, it's just going to make it more. It's just going to make it even tighter, isn't it? It's almost the reverse order. It could mean Harrison moving up into that lead. Guinness, it'll be a point or two either way. Any slip up now is going to be fatal.
Well, you look at it, for first place it's 75 points, second is 72, and third it's 69. So there's only, 6 points difference between first and third place in the standings. So, yeah, Ross McFarlane's closed up by 3 points on Corentin Guinness, so within 10 points of Guinness. Harrison's caught up Guinness by 6 points, so it's now 2 points is the gap between those two, the two teammates. So this is, if things carry on like this, you will not want to miss the next 2 races, and you certainly won't want to miss next week's championship finale, because this has been a tremendous season of the World Touring Car Series here.
Yeah, I think it's the best we've had. Because I think,
Is that because I'm sat here in the commentary box and not driving?
I'm not quite sure how to respond to that, to be honest. No, I'm delighted to have you here, Paul. It's let's just leave it at that. 10 points separating 3 drivers with 5 races to go is remarkable. And I think it's the best season we've had, Paul, because in season 1 and season 2, it was Guinness versus McFarlane by the time we got to this point of the championship. Now, it's a 3-way fight. And the kind of, it's not a David and Goliath thing, but McFarlane is outnumbered.
Yeah.
But Harrison and Guinness are always going to be more friendly to each other than they are to McFarlane. Naturally, that's how motorsport works with teams, etc. That dynamic is going to be important to keep a close eye on over the next 5 races.
It is, but we have seen throughout this season, of course, that the SimRC drivers, they do sort of work together for the majority of the race. If they're all up at the front, then they do work together. But then, when you get to the final few laps of the race, the gloves come off and they all fight each other. So it's not like that there's team orders saying, no, Guinness has to win the championship or Harrison has to win the championship. They're free to fight. And it could get a little bit messy between teammates. So you never know in the World Touring Car Series. And Ross McFarlane, being able to focus solely on himself, and if he does get people like Esteban Rodriguez and David Baker up there with him, it could really just have Pure Sim solely focused on one driver compared to SimRC having the two fighting it out against each other.
That is the other way of looking at it. That's true. I think from a SimRC perspective, one thing that's in their favour is that there's nothing to split Harrison and Guinness in points. It's pretty much level pegging, so there is no need for favouritism. It's almost like, go at it, guys. Just make sure Ross McFarlane doesn't win the championship. As long as one of you wins the championship, that's the main thing. Well, race 2 is coming up shortly here on RaceSpotTV. We'll be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to RaceSpotTV, where we're almost ready to go racing for the second time here at Knockhill Racing Circuit. The drivers poised to go shooting underneath the Bateson's Building Supplies Bridge and down into Turn 1 Duffus Dip. It's a proper roller coaster here, particularly at the opening point of the circuit, and a little bit more Knockhill-esque weather coming in here as well. A nice bit of overcast, that's what we like to see.
Yeah, it's getting a bit sort of darker with the cloud cover, but the drivers will still have the action red hot on track, and track temperature 26 and 27 degrees Celsius. So it's not cold out there for the cars, but they will be able to push on as Harry Fox having a few issues out there.
Yeah, it looks like he's gone off at Duffus Dip. Actually, in fact, he's he's struggling to get himself back going again. No,
going
trying to get himself back going again. Definitely not advisable there. It looked like he'd lost it coming out of Duffus, and then you really are a passenger there. If you get onto the grass, you actually have to be careful not to torpedo somebody into McIntyre's. It's the kind of way that it works here on iRace, and the grass is very, very slippy, so it can cause issues. As we go underneath the virtual commentary box there, the Gary Stagg commentary tower, home of Knockhill FM. There it is in the background. One of the best views in Great Britain to watch motor race from up there. And that's where the wheels of steel are, Paul, that you'll be taking over at Paul Smith's lunchtime takeover. In the summer.
They don't know what they've let themselves in for, do they?
They haven't told them yet.
But yeah, it's to be honest, it's a spectacular venue. I mean, it truly is. Looking over the Forth, and you can even see the Forth Bridge off in the distance, can't you, from Knockhill as well?
You can see all three of them. Yeah.
Well, you see, when I say the Forth Bridge, that means only one thing.
That's the
rail.
Well,
bridge.
you have the rail bridge. Yes, it's a UNESCO Natural International Heritage Site, I think. So yes, there's the rail bridge, the old Forth Road Bridge, and the new Queensferry Crossing. And that's usually it's a really good actually barometer of what the visibility is like for describing on radio. You can see normally you can say, well, I can see one bridge, I can see two, or I can see three. It's like and if you can see none, well, it's probably not good.
Is it the equivalent of the shipping forecast for Knockhill?
Yes, absolutely. The Gary Stagg commentary tower is like a lighthouse, just square and green, and made of recycled bits and pieces. No, I jest. I tell you what, the Tower of Power, when it gets going, it's good. It is wonderful.
I've only ever been up to the area once before the millennium. I'm aging myself again here, Peter, on the broadcast, but it was just before the millennium. Back in 1999, I went to. I've been to both North and South Queensferry, so there you go. I've been in and around the area, but never been to the circuit.
Well, looking forward to breaking that duck for you. No, that's a good one. Wonderful place to come racing is Knockhill. The practice session on at the moment, just a couple of minutes of warm up. Miguel Freitas fastest at the moment, 51.557. Just about 0.178 of a second quicker than Ross McFarlane. Andreas Gilman, a 51.792. So looks like the track surface has cooled off a touch, and I think we're going to see some rapid lap times here, Paul. We saw really quick lap time, a 51.0 from Kieran Harrison as the fastest lap of the race in race 1. I think we could see that something dropping into the 50s here.
I mean, how many tracks in the world can you take a TCR car and be able to lap in such a quick time? There's not many, is there? I mean, when we go to Silverstone National next week, we're going to be around about the 1 minute mark. 1 minute 1, aren't we? Around that one. So we come to a couple of really short, sharp, fast tracks for these drivers to really compete and to set their final stall in the championship, and it could throw a little bit of a curveball yet. Could tonight. I mean, we've got these 2 more races to come here, and it's the spin of the wheel. A lot of the drivers get a little bit anxious about the spin of the wheel. They want it to go in their favour, especially at a venue like this.
Well, it's one of the few things that's out of their control, really, in the championship. That's for sure. 50 seconds, 51 seconds. I mean, to give you an impression, that's sort of what the Scottish Superbike Championship are doing. Maybe a little bit quicker or slower either way, but yeah, and power to weight wise, you got a lot less power to weight in the TCR, but just shows you how good the braking and the cornering is as well. Well, we're ready for race number 2. Grid will be coming up in just a moment as the cars take their place, ready to start 20 minutes of racing, race 2, here in a reversed grid order as well. Miguel Freitas and Sam Blees will start on the front row, with Harry Fox and Richard Simner on row 2. Then it's Jamie Rushworth and Szilard Nagy. Row 4 is David Baker and Andreas Gilman, then Wojciech Savidovic, Stephen Walker, Norbert Leitner and Morgan Butler. 13th will be Terje Flatten, then it's Jurgen Frank, Jack Cedric, and then the championship contenders, Corentin Guinness, Ross McFarlane and Kieran Harrison, our race 1 winner. Row 10 will be El Neil and Damon Mulqueen, then it's Dan Martin, James Parker, Matthias Pentola and Carl Hardy. Starting 25th will be Nick Clibbins, then it's Hakan Ask, Stuart Bickley, Mike Pollard, Neil Rocks and Paddy Faulkner. And the last few, Austin Hereford, Rob Sutherland, Alan McCain, Pete Newman, Marcus Law and Sam Smith. 36 cars to go racing here, lined up and ready to go in a little under a minute's time. The cars take their positions on the grid, ready to drop the clutch and get that perfect getaway into the first corner. Miguel Freitas starting from pole here, Paul. Great opportunity for Miguel.
It is a tremendous opportunity for the Team Iberian himself, but so starting alongside him, Sam Blees, we've seen some pace out of him this season as well, so don't be surprised if we see Sam coming through and challenge him. But Miguel, you know, he's somebody who could do with a race win. I think he's been in and around the top 10 throughout the season, and he'll want to get one under his belt.
Yep, he certainly will. Well, last few seconds then. Miguel Freitas ready to lead us off from pole position. The revs begin to rise. The green flag being prepared, ready to be unleashed. Long hold on the lights there, but finally we are racing here at Knockhill in race number 2. Down the hill they go, and Miguel Freitas trying to hold off Sam Blees for the lead into Duffus Dip. He manages to do so. Harry Fox settles in there in 3rd position with Richard Simner right behind in the yellow and blue DCW racing car, but the leaders get through cleanly. A little bit of argy-bargy going on there as they head down through Butchers and then over the chicane. They all look to get through pretty clean there, Paul.
Oh, Blees looking to get the move done out of the chicane. Now Freitas can carry the speed out the corner because he was wide, but no, Sam Blees has got the place. Harry Fox is on the old flashers. He's wanting to move forward in his Veloster as well. This is close stuff here on the opening lap.
Oh, big bump and run there. Big bump and run from Miguel Freitas, just nudges the back of Blees. Blees gets pushed back as well, and Harry Fox up there in 2nd position, the AN-class driver. Harry Fox in the Hyundai Veloster trying to settle, trying to put a fight in for the lead here as well, trying to get his position there underneath. No, not quite on Miguel Freitas. Watch out for Jamie Rushworth there in car number 3, also for Pearson SimLab. Then it's Szilard Nagy for Impulse Racing, but be interesting to get another look. Here comes Harry Fox to the lead. Harry Fox leads at Knockhill in the World Touring Car Series. The AM driver puts a move on pro driver Miguel Freitas. Jamie Rushworth has a bit of an error there as well, and Nagy is going to try and make a move for 3rd place. So, little late move there from Rushworth, nearly clips Freitas, but Harry Fox is flying at Knockhill.
Oh, this is sensational stuff from Harry. He'll be loving this up at the front of the field right now. He's not had the best of seasons. He'll be the first one to admit that. The 2 Impulse racing cars, though, of Freitas and Nagy getting together. David Baker and Richard Simner's dropping down the order. What's happened to Simner? Oh, that's spinning off. Now, was there some of our championship contenders involved there? No. Look at Guinness already up to 10th place in this race.
Yeah, Guinness has left Harrison and McFarlane in his dust, and Simner's got big problems then. So let's get a look and see what happened. He's side by side with David Baker. Simner on the inside, Baker on the outside. Through Duffus they go. And yes, Simner gets it lit up over the curb, hops over the curb, but there's Leitner. Oh, and Leitner hits. How Leitner didn't swipe out Ross McFarlane there, I'll never know.
I think Ross had to get on the brakes
Dan
there.
Martin into the back of Leitner. Oh,
that's all got a bit messy there, hasn't it? Leitner had his own
engine.
accident. So Simner was having his own thing with Baker, and then Leitner, look at Leitner trying to drag that car, that wreck back to the pits. But yeah, Baker and Simner had their own thing, and you're absolutely right there, Peter. It was getting up over that curb. He's then hit the side of Baker. That's unsettled the car, and it's brought it back in for a second hit. Spun Simner around, and in the meantime, Leitner's going flying off, and here comes Freitas once again to the inside for the race lead.
big move there from Miguel Freitas, but leaves the door open on the exit as well, so Fox isn't going to let him have it easy, that's for sure. This is a drive of the season so far for Harry Fox in the AM class, and he's going to have another go at Freitas. He's going to try and go up the inside at Duffus. No, he isn't. Oh, look at the body language on the car from Miguel Freitas. He's pushing really, really hard in these early stages. 4 minutes down, and what a motor race we've got on our hands here. So it's Freitas from Fox, from Szilard Nagy, who's really ascending the field quickly. He could be a threat very quickly indeed. Then it's Jamie Rushworth, and Sam Blease rounds out the top 5. Gilman sits in 7th overall, 2nd in AM. Meanwhile, Dan Martin 3rd in AM, but 17th overall.
Yeah, this is a big day for Gilman. I thought it was actually very smart of Harry Fox to just back out of that going into Duffers. I don't really think that he was going to ever be alongside enough to make that move into Duffers. You've really got to be side by side going into that opening turn of the track. And they have got a little bit of lap traffic that they're catching up to. So cars that have come out of the pits, Norbert Leitner, well, he could really help his teammate out here, couldn't he, Norbert?
He could do, yeah. Norbert Leitner did very well to limp that, as you said, Paul, wreck back to the pit lane, jump into the spare car, and get back onto track. He has gone a lap down, but he will still score points, though, so he's just going to try and get on with it and see what comes his way as well. Remember, Norbert Leitner 4th overall in the championship right now, so he's in line for a really good championship result. He needs all the points he can get. You never know what could come his way. So there's Leitner going. I wonder if Leitner will actually fall back into the clutches of Freitas or not, because Leitner's so quick. He might not actually have worry too much about going down the second lap. So Corntegina is now trying to make moves there on the 222 of Stephen Walker. This is for 9th place. So Guinness is just charging through the field. He started 16th, he's already up to 10th. Meanwhile, Harrison, who started 18th, is up to 12th, so good from him. McFarlane, he's still languishing back in 14th, so he's good. These first few laps have been kind to Harrison and Guinness. Oh, Harrison's in a not so kind with Terrier Flatten bumping and bashing fairings.
It was a mistake from Stephen Walker on the exit of the chicane. Guinness is going left, he's going right, and he's got his teammates trying to make some moves as well. There goes Harrison to the inside of Flatten. Meanwhile, Guinness has finally made the move up into 9th place over Stephen Walker. Walker's going to carry on fighting this, but I think he's fighting a losing battle. Meanwhile, look at that, Flatten's trying to go around the outside here at the Duffers. That generally doesn't work out.
No, that's a hiding to nothing, to be honest, because then you leave yourself all hung out to dry on the entry to McIntyre's. You need to be on the inside there. So, yeah, inside at Duffus, inside at McIntyre's. That's the key there. But, yeah, Guinness is on a charge. He went all the way around the outside of Stephen Walker at the hairpin, almost doing the wet weather karting line in the dry, making it work. It's a great move. So, Guinness is the man on the move at the moment. But, next up, Wojciech Savidovic. We've seen Savidovic be very, very firm in hand-to-hand combat. He's such a fierce racer, but we've also seen him make a couple of really clumsy mistakes the last 2 race meetings. Hopefully that's the last of that we'll see of him last of we'll see of those mistakes from him, because we know someone of his experience, it's unusual to see those sort of clumsy mistakes.
I think Fox has just got mugged up at the front. He's dropped down to 5th place now, so I think something's happened to Harry, although I think he is actually fighting back as well. There he is, going down the inside of Sam Blee, so he's not giving this one up. It's tenacious, that's for sure, is Fox, but yeah, he's just dropped off that front 3 now.
Yeah, that's, I tell you what, nonetheless, it's been a valiant performance so far from Harry Fox, and still carrying on, but he's got to keep an eye though. Andreas Gilman is up to 7th and isn't too far behind, so Harry Fox has got to keep an eye on his fellow AM-class competitors and try to keep them at bay as best he can. And amongst those, amongst his AM-class rival Andreas Gilman is some real piranhas as well. Savinovic, Harrison, Guinness, they're all in there as well. And they've Guinness and Harrison have left McFarlane a few cars behind, which is exactly what they want to see. Savinovic off into the gravel. Guinness says thank you. Kieran says thank you, please.
Yes, it certainly does. It's like, oh, if you insist, yes, I'll go through. Yeah, nicely done. Take advantage of the mistake, and that's what you have to wait for most of the time around this track. It's mistake, force mistake. That's a move and a half down the inside of Gilman. Good grief, Guinness is a man on a mission right now. In 7th place, that'll get him 58 points for this race in the championship. Harrison at the moment would be getting 54, so Guinness is gaining 4 points over his teammate. But crucially, Ross McFarlane in 14th, 47 points, so they're gaining. Guinness is gaining 11 points over Ross McFarlane in this race.
Yes, he is indeed. This could be a real turning point race. McFarlane's got to get a shift on here and try and make some moves. He's actually just dropped behind Jack Cedric and gone down to 15th place. So McFarlane's only climbed 2 positions in this race after 10 minutes of running. So it's now or never, well, not now or never necessarily, but it's really got to start making things happen quickly as McFarlane.
McFarlane's just lost a place to Sedgwick.
Yep.
Jack Sedgwick has made the move. So yeah, it's just going from bad to worse for Ross right now. And the thing is, he can't rely on a reverse grid draw because, of course, he cannot get a number lower than where he is right now. So it could go against him.
Could do. Yeah, it really could do. So it's, yeah, things have got to start happening. And 1 position ahead of Sedgwick is Jürgen Frank, Sim RC driver, teammate of McFarlane's biggest rivals, Guinness and Harrison. So do not underestimate the dynamic there. Jürgen Frank will have, he'll be thinking, his orders are to make sure that McFarlane does not get past you under any circumstances. If that means, you're having to run really defensive lines and therefore compromising your own race position, not blocking as such, nothing dirty, but you're perfectly within your rights to defend very firmly, and that will be Jürgen Frank's strategy as in his supporting role to Harrison and McFarlane. If he doesn't, well, SimRC team management haven't done their job. Here goes McFarlane. He's going for the butcher move there on Cedric, but couldn't quite get it done.
It's one thing worth pointing out as well in terms of the championship points. The iRacing instant points, they can count against you with the championship as Cedric barges his way through Frank, and Ross McFarlane says, yes, thank you very much, Jack, I'll take advantage of that, and he's trying to get the run on Cedric. Meanwhile, David Baker, Ross McFarlane's teammate, is trying to hold off Corentin Guinness. But I just want to point out, you lose 1 championship point for every 2 incidents that you receive in a race, with a 5 times buffer, it says in the championship point. So the amount of instant points that you pick up during a race can actually really affect you championship-wise.
Oh, massively so, especially when a firm contact with another driver is 4 incident points. So that's 2 championship points effectively taken away from, and that's if you get rammed from behind by somebody, that's what's happening. So it's very, very tricky to manage that here. Now Harry Fox continues to lead in AM, 5th overall. It's been a superb drive, but he has Corentin Guinness right behind him, And that is something you never ever want to see, which is Guinness +0. And see, but Savinovic just pulling out of the train there for a moment. And I tell you what, Cedric did McFarlane a big favour there by barging Jurgen Frank out the way. That really, really helped. And Cedric's going to try and make a move. They're all getting very... contact there between Cedric. It takes 2 for the price of 1. Oh, Jack Cedric is... he's certainly doing Ross McFarlane some favours here, not on purpose. It's just by the rub of the green. Cedric is just nerfing people out the way, and McFarlane say, "Oh, thank you very much."
You know, in Yorkshire TV areas, there used to be an advert for double glazing windows, and it was you buy one, you get one free, and that's exactly what's happening here. Cedric, I'm sorry, this was never on really. Was that move? He wasn't alongside enough to make the move, and I tell you what, Ross was lucky there because the Karavolchuk Savinovic was coming back on and almost quarter panelled him.
I said you buy one.
You get one free.
Fantastic. Yeah, Cedric is definitely the double glazing window salesman right now, giving McFarlane all the deals right now. Oh goodness, that's a niche reference. 6 minutes and 22 seconds to go in this race. Sheila Nagy, car number 11, second position, holding off Jamie Rushworth. So at the moment, it's an Impulse Racing 1-2. We said earlier on, Paul, that this was a great opportunity for Miguel Freitas. He's grabbed it with both hands and he's taken it into a 3-second lead at the front. Brilliant stuff from the Portuguese.
Yeah, I said it was about time that he got a result that went his way, and it certainly is right now. I don't want to tempt fate because there's still 6 minutes remaining, but yeah, that's a really good performance from Miguel at the front of the field. I've been a teammate of his many years before he went on to pastures new at Impulse Racing, but I tell you what, they've got a good driver, have Impulse, that is for sure. But yeah, Freitas, he knows his stuff. He is a quick driver, and yeah, we've seen him for many a year here on RaceSpotTV. But Sir Nagy, he's no slow driver either. He's no slow coach. He's doing a job, and Jamie Rushworth is try as he may, he can't get past us. Harrison now past Harry Fox, and well, Ross McFarlane's getting the moves done as well.
He is, yeah, and Ross McFarlane trying to get through a little bit of a melee in front of him. Actually, in fact, McFarlane's under pressure from Gilman, and so they're going to go, just gets past Gilman in time. So McFarlane is ascending the field, but the problem is Guinness and Harrison are ascending the field at a faster rate. That is the simple fact of it. There's two trains of thought here, Paul. There's one train of thought is that Cedric's kind of cleared the path for McFarlane a little bit, but on the other hand, he's kind of stuck behind Cedric as well, so it's kind of given in one way and taken in the other.
Yeah, it's that balancing act, isn't it? As this is all getting a bit exciting here. Currently Guinness has caught up the top second, third and fourth battle. I wouldn't write off Guinness from getting into the second step of the podium here in this race, because these three have been duking it out. There's a look, more of a defensive look, I think, from Blees. I think he realises, Guinness almost getting into the back end of Sam Blees, but this is the problem. When you get to some of these drivers, if you're currently Guinness, it gets a bit more difficult. That was a compromised run from Jamie Rushworth, and nowhere to go for Guinness.
And this is where Guinness and Harrison are going to be super, super careful, because Sam Blees, he's 8th in the championship, but he's mathematically well out of it. So they've not really got any championship acts to grind. They just want to get as best a race result as possible. Guinness puts a big move there on Blees up the inside. Looks like he's going to get it though as they charge up over the hill and then down towards turn 1 as well. Guinness has got that critical inside line. Does he have enough of an overlap though as well? I think Blees is going to play chicken with him here as they head into toughest side by side. They almost touched there as well, but Guinness gets it done just. And Blees settles in there. He's the geodesic sandwich with Sim-RC bread.
Yeah, that was a little bit heart in mouth then, I think. Blees is one of those who is not a respecter of egos, and he will get stuck in and try and race for his position. And the thing is, if you're not exactly at the same pace as some of the other drivers, you want to race against them because it gives you a test of to how you're getting on and where you can improve things. As in fact, Blees loses the position to Harrison now. Here comes Guinness as well. He's keen. I said I wouldn't write him out of a second step of the podium. He's looking all over the back of Jamie Rushworth right now.
Yeah, Guinness is going all in here. He is absolutely on it, knowing that every point in this championship battle is critical. He knows he's got his biggest rival, his teammate Kieran Harrison, right behind him. So he's got to just try and make as many moves as he can. He is driving beautifully, is Corentin Guinness. And the thing is, he's not nerfing people out the way. He's not making excessive contact. He's doing it with real precision. This is superb driving and hardly a surprise for the driver with the number 1 plate on the side of the car.
Now, crucial for Ross McFarlane is that his teammate David Baker is in front of him. I don't imagine that David will make it particularly difficult for Ross to get past him. He is a real
21, Dave.
He is a team player, is Dave. I know. He's a former teammate of mine, and you couldn't ask for a better teammate in David Baker, especially in front-wheel drive racing. Jamie Rushworth parking the car into McIntyre's. He is under the same Pure Sims awning as Ross McFarlane, so the SimLab driver, yes, it's a different team to Pure Sims Esports, but they're under that same outfit. Jamie Rushworth will be trying to help out Ross McFarlane as much as he can.
Absolutely. This is, Rushworth doing his job. He's going as fast as he can, but covering a more defensive line to make life as difficult as possible for Guinness and for Harrison, as Rushworth just shuts the door in time. Here comes Harrison, 1 lap to go. Harrison's got a great tuck under line, then he's going to be side by side with his teammate. Is he going to duck? Is he going to pull out of it? Yes, he is. He's going to let Guinness take that lead then into Duffus, but Rushworth is doing a great job here to keep the SimRC cars at bay and making sure that they don't score any more points in their battle with his teammate, albeit in different colours, as you rightly say, Paul, Ross McFarlane.
This is tremendous stuff. This has been brilliant racing in this race too. To watch these cars cut their way through has been absolutely wonderful, and look forward to race 3, but this one isn't over yet. But Miguel Freitas is at the final corner as Guinness goes bumping.
Yeah, Freitas takes the win then as well, but Rushworth side by side with Corentin Guinness. It's now just a drag race. It's a drag race up to the hill as well. Naji's going to get second. Is it going to be Guinness? Is it going to be Rushworth? It's going to be Guinness. Guinness nicks it. Just Guinness gets that last spot on the podium. Oh, how important could that be? McFarlane goes past Baker to the surprise of nobody. Up into 9th he goes. So Guinness 3rd, Harrison 5th. McFarlane 9th. Those are your Pro Championship contenders. Harry Fox does get the win in AM. Brilliant drive from him. 7th overall. Fantastic. Gilman was 2nd in AM, 11th overall. And Dan Martin, tell you what, 16th for Dan Martin. That's a good performance from him. That might just get him a reverse grid for race 3. We shall see. But Miguel Freitas, Paul, we cannot brush over that. What a drive to win by a healthy margin.
Yeah, it was, and after seeing off the challenge assemblies early on, he just then was able to focus solely forward and to move through and try and get that race win, and he did. Just that did Miguel, and well, the team manager's obviously been on the phone. We want a team photo of that one, thank you very much. But we'll get to see the spin of the wheel for the final time tonight and see who it is that ends up on pole position.
Well, let's see then. Is it going to be 22? Is it going to be 11? 11. Oh, and wow. Well, this has major championship ramifications in the AM class. If it had been 22, well, Dan Martin would have started in a very strong position, the AM championship leader. However, the AM championship chaser, Andreas Gilman, will start from pole position. So, Miguel Freitas wins by 5.4 seconds here in an Impulse Racing 1-2 with Szilard Nagy in 2nd. Corentin Guinness pinches the last spot on the podium from Jamie Rushworth by 26 thousandths of a second. Kieran Harrison comes home in 5th. Sam Blees was 6th, and Harry Fox, a superb drive to come home 7th and leader in the AM class. Jack Sedgwick was 8th, and Ross McFarlane, championship contender, 9th, with his teammate David Baker in 10th, right behind him. 11th, Andreas Gilmer, your second place in AM, but your pole sitter for race number 3. Terje Flatten just misses out on the reverse grid draw. Then it's Morgan Butler, Wojciech Savidovic, Jürgen Frank, and Dan Martin in 16th. Stephen Walker was 17th, El Neil 18th, Pete Newman 19th, and David McQueen was 20th. Nick Clibbins was 21st, followed by Paddy Faulkner, Carl Hardy, Matthias Pentola, Neil Rock, Sam Smith, Marcus Law, James Parker, and Stuart Bickley were the first car not to finish on the lead lap. Norbert Leitner not on the lead lap either after a big wreck earlier on in the race. 31st was Richard Simner, with Alain McCain not making it to the flag on the lead lap either. Then the following drivers not making the finish: Mike Pollard, Hacken Ask, Oystein Hereford, and Rob Sutherland. So, it's game on in the championship here, Paul, and with that quite low reverse grid number, we're going to see the championship contenders all starting within that reverse grid, and it's going to put Ross McFarlane on the second row of the grid. It's got to be a win for him. That's what he's got to do to get this back on track.
Yeah, but we're seeing how Guinness and also Harrison, the way that they were able to work their way through the field, it's not that many cars for them to get through to try and be challenging for the big points. I mean, Guinness, that's 13 places gained along with Harrison in that one. Guinness ended up 69 points, Harrison 63 points before any instant points are taken into account. I mean, that's a 6-point swing between those two, but Ross McFarlane in 9th, 54 points. So that's what, 15 points less than Corentin Guinness before we take into account any drop points due to instant points. So it's tight stuff, is this, up at the front of the championship, and it's worth pointing out, you pointed it out beautifully, AM Championship, this one isn't over yet, because Damon McQueen, Dan Martin had a real good drive, gained 5 places in that race, but Andreas Gilman starting on pole position for Impulse, who have been quick. Let's not doubt that after Miguel's race here, this race. I think that Andreas is on for a really good round of points here.
Well, Impulse have clearly been doing their homework for Knockhill, for certain, because yes, they have a lot of cars in the field, a lot of fast cars. Clearly they've got their Hyundai Elantras dialed in, because all of them have had a strong night in one way or another at various points. And, you know, the pace is, as you say, Paul, definitely there. For Andreas Gilman, the only AM driver who's going to be anywhere near him is Harry Fox when they start the race. So Gilman's got to take this opportunity and try and put as many points on the board as he can. I think it's going to make quite a showdown when we come to Silverstone National next week. Let's take a brief thought about that, Paul. Silverstone National is about as close to a kind of short track speedway oval race as you'll get on a road course. It's very much, it races like an oval, it races like a short track oval. Yes, of course it's not an oval, but it races that way. That then throws a whole nother realm of possibilities of how the races go for each of our championship contenders.
Certainly does. I mean, a few years ago in another series, I once had a race around Silverstone National, and I was side by side with a car for 3 laps. It was just, you just could not separate the two of us throughout the laps. So it is one of those tracks where it takes a mistake. It also takes some pre-planning and thinking to make those moves, because there aren't that many braking points at Silverstone around there. You've got the run into Cops, you've got the run into Maggots and Beckett's, and then the run down to Brooklands, and that's it. That 3 braking zones on the entire lap for these touring cars. So it's gonna be intriguing one, is that one next week. But this final race could really throw up some real fireworks here.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. And also, you know, when we get to Silverstone next time out, in that very fast-paced circuit, that, you know, close-pack racing, that's where McFarlane could find himself in trouble with the 2 Sim RC cars. and potentially Jurgen Frank being in there as well, where he's maybe a little bit outnumbered possibly. We shall see. Heading into race 3, we're in for a cracker, because I don't think it will take long to see our 3 championship contenders fighting at the front. McFarlane, really, he's just got to make the break as fast as possible and try and put room between himself and Harrison and Guinness before they make their way through the packets. The first few laps are vitally important for McFarlane in this championship chase.
I think Ross needs to get a lightning start, needs to try and get the jump over Andreas Gilman. And then I think what he needs is his teammate David Baker to be in there with him, sit as a rear gunner to try and help as much as possible, back up the pack, so that then Ross can work away and run away at the front and have the rest of them just backed up and not worried about anybody trying to attack Ross in that race. That's going to be the key for Pure Sims.
I totally agree. Well, race 3 is coming up very soon here on RaceSpotTV. Do not go anywhere. You don't want to miss this final race. Back in a second. Welcome back to RaceSpotTV. It's almost time for the third and final race here at Knockhill Racing Circuit for the penultimate round of the World Touring Car Series. Just 4 races remain in this championship. 1 left here today at Knockhill and 3 at Silverstone in a week's time. Who is going to come out on top and be the champion of season number 3 of the World Touring Car Series? Well, we've had 2 champions so far. Season number 1 went to Ross McFarlane. Season number 2 to Corentin Guinness. Well, Kieran Harrison will be hoping to be the third, Paul.
They certainly will, and Sim RC would hope that they get one of their drivers as a champion. That's all that they will care about going into that final round of the championship. Of course, Sim RC having a good season as well behind the wheel in terms of the team's championship. They were leading coming into this round, so I think they're on for a really good haul of points over Pure Sims this week. So yeah, I think it's going to be gloves off driving for everybody here in this third race, because it's the last opportunity this week to get a score. And as we mentioned at the start of the show as well, it's the final round of this championship where drop scores are in effect. So if you're going to have a bad round, make sure it's this round if you haven't had one, because next week it all counts.
Yeah, that is where you're absolutely right, Paul, where it does count big time. Much higher track temperature, interestingly, Paul, 34 degrees.
yeah, those drivers will be feeling that slightly. The lap times will be down by about a second or so in this race compared to the last race. So yeah, they will feel the effects of that, and certainly be intriguing to see whether drivers are able to look after the tyres a little bit, because you think around here, oh, it's only a short lap, but there's a lot of turns for a short lap, it must be said, and you've got low speed corners, so you've got braking into acceleration zones and some really tricky corners that put strain through the tyres, and yeah, so you can put a lot of force through these tyres, especially that front left here.
Definitely, yeah, you really are giving that front left a proper pounding around Knockhill, and that excessive track temperature, you're right, Paul, it really does not help with that. So one thing extra for the drivers to keep an eye on, just under 2 minutes left in this warm-up session, to get used to those track conditions, which are wildly different to what we saw in race 1, where it was a little bit cooler track temperature, really grippy surface in race number 2. This one here, though, this will be a little bit on the greasier side. The highest I've ever seen it at Knockhill, track temperature wise, is 40 degrees Celsius track temperature, which we saw last summer, but that was, yeah, full sunshine all day, heating the track up.
Oh, that was in the height of the heat wave as well, wasn't it?
Yes.
So yeah, yeah, it did get excessively hot. I mean, I remember during that heat wave, I think Silverstone ended up being in the high 50s at one point for track temperatures. It was really abnormal last year in the summer. But yeah, people who think that, oh, it's always rainy or it's always cold in Scotland, no, I'm sorry, no, it's not. The last few times I've been to Scotland, it's been lovely weather, so maybe that's just the effect that I have on the weather.
It is. You bring a little bit of Yorkshire with you. Absolutely. So just under 30 seconds before we grid up for race number 3, a critical race number 3 here in the World Touring Car Series, in both the Pro and the Am classes, Paul, of course. With Dan Martin, he's done all he can. He's done all he could tonight. He's just got to keep that up in race 3 and hope it comes to him. Yeah,
I would still be preferring to be in his position right now, which is, leading the championship and having others having to chase you. I mean, in that second race, Dan only lost 5 points to Andreas Gilman, so that could have a really big effect on him here in this round. It's not going to have as big a swing as Andreas Gilman would hope.
Yeah, very true. Very, very true. So this is how they grid up then for race number 3, the final race of the day here at Knockhill Racing Circuit. Andreas Gilman and David Baker are your front row, with championship contender Ross McFarlane alongside Jack Sedgwick. Watch out for that Hyundai Veloster of Sedgwick. Then it's Harry Fox, the leader in the Am class in race 2, and then Sam Blease is on the outside of row 3. Row 4 is championship contender Kieran Harrison alongside Jamie Rushworth. Then Corentin Guinness in 9th after a great performance to get on the podium in race 2. Shilard Nagy will start 10th, and Miguel Freitas, your race 2 winner, starts 11th. Terry Flatten rounding out row 6. Row 7 will be Morgan Butler and Wojciech Savirovic. Then it's Jurgen Frank and Am Championship leader Dan Martin. Then it's Stephen Walker and El Neal. 19th on the grid will be Pete Newman alongside David Mulqueen. Then it's Nick Clibbins, Paddy Faulkner, Carl Hardy and Neil Rocks. Starting from 25th will be Marcus Law alongside James Parker. Then it's Stuart Bickley and Norbert Leitner, with Richard Simner and Alan McCain rounding out the top 30. Mike Pollard starts from 31st. Then it's Hacken Ask, Oyston Hereford, Rob Sutherland and Sam Smith round out our 35 car grid here for race number 3 at Knockhill here in the World Touring Car Series. Drivers getting ready, just finding that ideal rev point, ready to launch off the line. Of course, front wheel drive cars, these touring car machines, quite a lot of power, quite a lot of torque, so it can be a tricky game getting them off the line. And a good start here, really important at Knockhill to try and get that breakaway early on. It will be Andreas Gilman leading us off from pole position. He's had a dream night so far in the AM class. Can he round it off here in race number 3? The revs begin to rise, ready for that green flag now, watching the lights, ready to unleash the power of these TCR machines, waiting for that green flag. It's a long wait. Off they go then. Norbert Leitner will start at the back with Andreas Gilman, his teammate, right up at the front. And David Baker slots in behind. McFarlane in there in 3rd. Cedric in there in 4th, with Harry Fox rounding out the top 5. Kieran Harrison moves up to 6th straight away as they come through McIntyre's for the first time. It's a big tough move there from car number 3, Jamie Rushworth, who closes the door on Corentin Guinness. Up towards Clark Curve they go for the first time. Andreas Gilman just under 3/4 of a second already from David Baker, so it's a great getaway from Gilman. And oh no, friendly fire between the two DCW racing machines.
Oh no, that's not what DCW Racing will have wanted. Ross McFarlane's got past his teammate, and David Baker's got Cedric with him. But I think that was crucial for the Pure Sims Esports team to get Baker behind McFarlane in terms of the championship standings to help Ross out. But Andreas Gilman has got a nice 7/10 of a second lead right now. He has shown some pace around here, especially in race number 1, being in the top 10. Let's have a look then on, it's 3 DCW cars together, and they all sort of check up, and unfortunately, as you say, friendly fire.
Well, that's awkward. Oh dear, that's not what you want to see at all. Don't hit your teammate. That's a golden rule. Oh dear, yeah, that's not good, not good at all. So Andreas Gilman, what a start he got. He was over the line. He was 3/4 of a second to the good, but McFarlane's going to hunt him down, and he is. He's all over him already. David Baker playing the perfect supporting role there, allowed McFarlane to get through, but also kept Cedric at bay at the same time. Amazing piece of defensive driving from David Baker, car number 6 for Pure Sims, doing a really good job for his teammate. McFarlane's got to get past Gilman as quick as he possibly can though, while the rest of the field trying to get through, particularly the 2 drivers he's got to keep an eye on, Harrison and Corentin Guinness. Very, very important there. And McFarlane is hunting down the back of Gilman, but I don't think it's going to be a very straightforward move there from McFarlane to get the race lead. I really don't.
No, not at all. I mean, if you're Andreas Gilman, you're thinking, I need as many points as I possibly can to try and take this AM Championship to my rival Dan Martin. But if you're also thinking the big picture, you're thinking, I'm already scoring some big points over Dan right now. Ross, it's one person. You defend, but you don't fight too hard. You don't slow each other down. And you try and sort of keep that margin over the rest of the field.
David Baker defending like a lion here to try and keep Cedric and, more importantly, Harrison at bay here as they head up towards Clark Curve. And again, there's certain points of the circuit where it is a bit more one line, where you can afford to, you don't have to run on a defensive line. However, this point of the circuit we're coming up to now is not one of those. David Baker having to make sure that inside line is covered to avoid Cedric or Harrison making a move. It's been a good lap from David Baker there as well. Really good performance so far. McFarlane can't quite get past Gilman for now, but he is getting very, very close. He's putting the number 85 Impulse Racing driver under serious pressure.
Yeah, he is putting him under pressure, but the problem is, as you say, it's, as the great Murray Walker used to say, catching is one thing, passing is quite another. I think Baker's been very clever here. He is sort of holding his line, holding his apexes, and just backing everyone up a little bit here. He's being defensive, and although Cedric looking to the inside of Clark, and the 2 of them nearly rub, and here comes Harrison. He's trying to take advantage of all of this, but he's got a roadblock in front of him.
Yeah, he's got a very brightly coloured roadblock as McFarlane's going for the lead then at the hairpin. Oh, Guinness making a big move up the inside as well. So side by side for the lead. McFarlane, I think he's going to get it done on Gilman. He's got... no, I don't know. He's going to have to be brave here into toughest. Gilman yeah, Gilman just eases off there. You just saw the brake lights come on slightly, so Gilman very smart there as well. Tuck in behind Ross McFarlane. You could not get a better reference point than Ross McFarlane. Gilman is perfectly working out. There's a big gap behind him. Just got to try and tuck in behind Ross for as many laps as he possibly can.
And this is it. That's why it's not really worth fighting too hard for that lead, because he's still going to score some big points for his AM Championship right there by being up at the front. And David Baker, I don't think I've seen him defend that aggressively for quite a few years, but it was all to nothing because Harrison got the nose in there. Baker realised that, but look at that. He's going for the cut under on the apex of the hairpin. It's a classic retaliation move here at Knockhill.
Yeah, David Baker read that beautifully, and to be very fair, when he saw Harrison was going for it, he did very quickly give the room to Harrison when they came out of the exit of his lots there. So that's firm but fair there from David Baker, and again, read it perfectly at the hairpin, went for the cutback, and he's just giving a huge opportunity to his teammate Ross McFarlane, who's got by Andreas Gilman. David Baker, there's only so much he can do, though Harrison appears to have quite a bit more pace. He's made it a move up the inside at Clark's. Big slide for Baker. That's surely going to compromise him, surely. And then Guinness is going to come in and try, and well, what is it you say, Paul? You buy one,
you get one free. Baker was compromised through the chicane. I think he got his line all sorts of wrong. That allowed Harrison to get the run out of the chicane, get alongside, and now Baker, try as he may, he is going to get freight trained here if he's not careful. Both Sim RC cars are going to fight out, but Baker around the outside, can he hold it? The two are coming together almost. Guinness is almost out of control there through Leslie's, and Baker somehow manages to stay ahead of Guinness at least.
And really firm, fair racing there as well. It was just David Baker not doing anything reckless at all. It would just be the easy thing to go, I made a mistake, sorry, I've taken you out. No, none of that. Really good sportsmanship. Firm. That's the opposite of sportsmanship. Oh my goodness me.
Oh no, that's
firing everywhere. One. Oh no, there's the Talladega big one.
We've been lucky there that Taya flat and also I think, was it Miguel Freitas? No, it was Nagy who ended up on the other side of the track, but that got all a little bit messy there in the bottom part of the top 10.
Well, that was some buy one get one free double glazing for Dan Martin as well in the AM class chase. He gained a few positions there of that attrition, but his biggest rival out there today in the AM class, Andreas Gilman, is second, and he's dropped about a second and a half off McFarlane, so he won't be in draft range, and he won't really be in reference range as such either. But Gilman in a very strong position. He's made the very most of his lot there from pole position. Really impressive stuff from Andreas Gilman, and if he can just try and close this out now without too much delay, he'll be very happy. Car number 3, Jamie Rushworth, a lot of damage on the front left. I wonder if he might have to pit actually, or will he be able to limp it to the end of the race? Let's see if he comes into the pit lane. Nope, he's going to keep going, so he can keep going. Good news there for Jamie Rushworth. Big contact on the straight there between Jurgen Frank and Sam Blees, and more contact. Frank just parks it on the door of Blees' geodesic Hyundai, and that's getting fierce and nasty. They make contact again as Jurgen Frank got it lit up on the gravel, and there is a bit of you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Savinovic off.
That rejoin by Jurgen Frank at the chicane was appalling, quite frankly. There was a big gaggle of cars coming through at that point, and he's just cut the chicane, come right into the side of Savinovic. Where does Wojciech go in all of this? I mean, you can see the cars in front, they're slowing each other down, Assemblies and Frank. There goes Frank off to the side, and all of a sudden, he comes back on, bang, right into the side of Wojciech Savinovic. That, I'm sorry, is poor.
I have to say, Paul, I did not appreciate that at first look, but you called that spot on. Really poor. I agree. Poor old Savinovic there got nerfed big time. And we're used to maybe rejoins if someone's maybe rejoining sideways across the track if they're not paying attention. But that was more. There was an option to keep the wheels straight there, and thought, no, I need to get back on the terra firma. I've hit somebody. That's poor. but they carry on then. McFarlane leading by 2 seconds now from Gilman, who still has another 2 seconds back to Jack Sedgwick. And Sedgwick, I mean, Sedgwick is very much an independent in this championship fight, but goodness me, has he been a factor in how things have played out today?
Oh yeah, he's been a real thorn in the side of several of our championship protagonists here today, hasn't he, Jack? He's been not afraid of getting stuck in, but that's what you would expect of Jack Sedgwick. He's having a lot of fun there in the Veloster, and why wouldn't you? He's certainly representing his team well in that Craig setup shop car. He's got Harrison behind him now. The question is, can he hold him off? I mean, if you're Jack Sedgwick, I would be wanting to get as good a result as possible. He's on the podium right now. Harrison, he needs the points. It's not a desperate need, I don't think, because, I mean, he's only losing, what, 6 points to... he's losing 9 points to Ross McFarlane right now. Is Harrison on the road? It's not the end of the world, is that, for me?
I think Harrison's got the pace under the car to challenge here. I mean, we saw how dominant he was in race 1. Definitely the car with it. He's been fastest lap in race 1 and 2. So, I mean, data-wise, he's been the quickest car out there on circuit today. But racecraft is everything at Knockhill. You're not saying Harrison hasn't had it. Definitely not. But pace is one thing, but racecraft is another.
Gilman was really wide through Clark then on the gravel, and that won't help his efforts. Yes, he's got about a 2-second lead over this battle. If I'm Kieran Harrison right now, I'm not fighting Jack Sedgwick. I'm wanting to work together to get close to Andreas Gilman. That's what I'm wanting to do right now.
Yeah, I think that's a very wise strategy. Yes, indeed. I mean, if you feel like you're not being too held up, which I don't think Harrison will feel that way. I think Sedgwick's pace is strong, but yeah, Harrison got to figure it out. I mean, lap times last time by, yeah, they were pretty much identical with Andreas Gilman. Harrison a touch quicker, but not by much. Best laps of the race is where it's a little bit different. Harrison's best lap of the race is a second quicker than Andreas Gilman. Cedric's best lap of the race is 7/10 quicker than Gilman. So ultimate pace, they are quicker, but they don't appear to be delivering that pace at this midpoint of the race.
If you're Dan Martin right now, you're thinking, I could do with a few more people having to come together and gaining me a few more positions. He's 15th at the moment. That would get him 46 points. One of his championship rivals, Andreas Gilman, is on 72 points as things stand in this race. So that's a big swing, is that? I mean, when Gilman came into this round of the championship, it was 95 points separating himself and Dan Martin. I think that will be a bit closer by the end of today.
Yeah, Gilman finishing second would seriously sting for Dan Martin, that's for sure. He needs a few more buy one, get one frees, that's for sure. But he's right there in a big train. He's got quite a few of the QSM SimLab cars ahead of him. He's got all 3 of them ahead of him. Who else does he have in there? Miguel Freitas, Pete Newman, Jurgen Frank, Rocket Butler, Jamie Rushforth. I don't think there's not many Diddies in front of him, is there? He's got a pretty high profile list of drivers ahead of him, so I think you're right, Paul. Dan Martin might need a little bit of a helping hand there. The other side to that coin is that they have all been getting into quite a lot of contact with one another, so you never know, it might play into his favour. Now Cedric is looking a little bit more like a cork in the bottle. He has not pulled any time out of Andreas Gilman over the last few laps, and Harrison and Guinness are now up behind him, and there's the contact going on. Jurgen Frank is making no friends out there.
No, absolutely not. He is making a few enemies, and a few people will be having him on a list of people to mess with. But yeah, Dan Martin, I feel now he's under a little bit of pressure because Norbert Leitner, he's on a charge here right now. He's behind Dan in 16th, so Dan's got to be careful and get those points. Sedgwick and Harrison are duking it out. I can see on that timing tower on the left-hand side of your screen. So those two have been switching. They're going side by side through Duffers.
Oh, and that's always high adrenaline there as well. Cedric giving racing room, and Harrison barging into the side there as they got towards the chicane. Who's going to blink? Certainly not Cedric. Oh my goodness me. Cedric went full attack there, and Harrison, I think Harrison called Cedric's bluff and he double bluffed him. I thought he's probably thinking, surely not. And, well, Guinness picks up a place there as well. Harrison drops effectively 2 there. I have to say, Cedric keeping it wide open there, that was seriously gutsy, proving that he's got absolutely nothing to lose. Cedric, I cannot believe it. Every week I look at the points, Paul, he's not in the top 10 in the championship. I just can't fathom that.
I think it's the very much win it or bin it sort of style, isn't it, for him. Oh, now, on the timing screen, Pete Newman is dropping down the... Oh, and there was another car off there as well that was returning to the track. I think it was Norbert Leitner. And, yeah, Newman's had to park the car, and I think Leitner's heading onto pit road. So we can kind of guess what's happened here going down into the hairpin.
Well, let's see. Let's confirm it. It's Leitner in the 29 Impulse Racing car. Ah, it wasn't. Oh, dear. Now,
it was Leitner's, one of Leitner's Impulse car's teammates.
Nagy. So Nagy clipped Newman, turning Newman into a snooker ball, and clipped Leitner. Is that
not El Neil? I think it might be El Neil.
I think you could be right, yeah. So El Neil gave Newman the lightest touch, and that was enough to... Well, that wins the Jordan Verco Trick Shot Award for today.
And the problem is, because you're in a hard braking zone there, the back end of the car goes really light. Because that weight transfer goes over the front wheels, it just takes the slightest of touches, it unsettles the back end of the car, whilst you're heavily on the brakes, and before you know it, you're facing the wrong way into the barrier, wondering what on earth happened.
Is Jack Sedgwick the Vitaly Petrov of World Touring Car Series? I think he might be. And I say
that's a reference.
That is a reference, but isn't it true though?
Yeah.
Because McFarlane had in race 2 just could not get past Sedgwick, just couldn't do it. And Harrison and Gaines are suffering the same fate here. It's, I mean, really, really intriguing, and fair play to Sedgwick, because some drivers might just thought, I'm just going to let these guys go. I'm just going to get out of the way. I'm not in the championship fight. Nah, stuff that. If you're putting in the prep, and if you're able to drive at this speed, you deserve to be there. And the championship or not, you're trying to get the best result. Remember, this is a fight for a podium position, and for Sedgwick, it is about wins and podiums. It's not a championship chase. Whereas Harrison and Gaines, their goals are completely different at this stage.
And don't forget that Jack Sedgwick is a former World Championship licence holder.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, he knows one thing, and that is fight for every position. Fight and scrape and do everything that he can to be competitive and to win. That's all he knows. And he won't respect the fact that... I mean, he will respect that Gaines and Harrison are in a championship fight, but, as you pointed out, when they went side by side into the chicane, he's got nothing to lose. Harrison and Gaines can't afford to get themselves under the ire of the stewards and get themselves a penalty going into the final round of the championship.
No, definitely not. And that was just a game of chicken. I mean, there is only one car that can go through the chicane at a time. And Cedric says, well, I'm not lifting. You can either keep not lift and have an accident, or lift and let me through. And Harrison very wisely lifted out of it and lived to fight another day, which was, I think, was the smart move. It wouldn't have felt like it at the time, but definitely the smart move. Just under 2 minutes to go, Andreas Gilman, he's in dreamland. He's 2.5 seconds ahead of Sedgwick. So yeah. Gilman, if he can just hit his marks for the next minute and a half, he is going to get a huge haul of points in the AM class, because remember, folks, he scores the points for second place overall to his AM class title chase, whereas Dan Martin scores points for 14th place. So it's a huge swing there in the AM championship. I have to say, under a lot of pressure, starting from the back of the grid in race 1, I'm impressed with Dan Martin today as well, Paul. He hasn't panicked. He's put in 3 solid performances, and he's minimised the damage as best as he possibly could. Well,
he gained 5 positions in the last race alone. You know, he tried to get himself the best opportunity of getting a reverse grid draw go in his favour. It didn't pan out for him, but he's still plugging away. I mean, he's currently, as you say, 14th. He's gained 2 places. So he's been on a forward march throughout these 3 races, so he really has been pushing it all the way. Now, my question to you, Peter, is, do we get an extra lap here because McFarlane Right now, he is through Clark. So, yeah, we're going to get another lap in this race, aren't we?
Think so, just and no more. So I hope the drivers have got enough fuel on board. Of course, it's quite a short lap around here, so I would hope so. Around the penultimate, around the final corner of the penultimate lap, then goes Ross McFarlane. There is the white flag signifying the last lap of the race. McFarlane knew what he had to do. He had to take advantage of his grid spot. He had to get out there out front, and that's exactly what he's done. And he's got a 6-second advantage at the front. Tell you what though, Paul, if you looked at the results and you looked at the three winners, they look like three pretty comfortable advantages. Doesn't really tell the full picture, does it?
No, the big picture and the big story of the day is just how intense the fighting has been in these races. Gilman's had a ton of time taken out of him these last couple of laps, so he's got to be careful. The two Sim RC cars, though, they're together. Guinness, he's looking a little bit under pressure from Harrison here.
Big time. Well, Cedric's gone as well. I don't think they're going to get Cedric. Well, Ross McFarlane, cometh the man, cometh the hour. When he needed a win, he's pulled it out the bag. Ross McFarlane wins at Knockhill. He wins at home in race number 3 here in the World Touring Car Series. Andreas Gilman wins in Am, second overall. Cedric gets the last spot on the podium, and Guinness pinches it from Harrison on the last lap for 4th position. Harry Fox is going to come home in another brilliant result in 7th overall. So 2 top 10s for the AM-class driver. Brilliant stuff. Oh, huge wreck! Oh my goodness.
That's big, Clay.
Oh.
What has happened there? Now that, well, those telltale signs of those tyre marks tell me there was contact further down the railway straight. I say railway straight. God, I'm showing me age again. Down the Hislop. So there's a door bang there, and then car comes across. There, he's trying to get the plate, and yeah, he's been forced off the track into the wall, and now he's just a passenger. Bang!
Well, can I rescind the John Virgo Trickshot Award and give it to that one? Well, what can Bickley do here? He gets completely pushed on the grass, and he's a passenger. He's a torpedo at this point. An unguided, heat-seeking torpedo. Bang. Ouch. Not to me, Paul. There was nothing that Stuart Bickley could have done there. Nothing.
Well, once you're on the grass there, and if
Game
he
over.
picked up suspension damage on that front right as well, that would be completely useless as well from that hit with the wall. So, yeah, there's very little that Stuart can do there at that point. He's a passenger.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate end to the race there. But at the front, Ross McFarlane, he had to play a little bit second fiddle in race 2 to his championship rivals, but my goodness me, what a response from the Scotsman. He wins by 6 seconds from, well, I'm going to say man of the meeting, Andreas Gilman in the AM class, 2nd overall. What a performance that was. Jack Cedric, likewise, very strong evening for him, 3rd on that day, or 3rd on the race there. Conte Guinness was 4th, just edging out his teammate Kieran Harrison, and it was David Baker in 6th. Harry Fox, another superb drive, in 2nd in AM, 7th overall. Stephen Walker was 8th, then it was Morgan Butler, and Sam Blease rounds out the top 10. 11th was Jamie Rushworth with Jürgen Frank, Miguel Freitas rounding out the top 13, and then Dan Martin came home in 14th overall, 3rd in AM, a good damage limitation exercise from the AM Championship leader. Wojciech Savinovic was 15th, then it was El Neal, Paddy Faulkner, James Parker, Sam Smith, and Damon McQueen. 21st was Carl Hardy, then it was Marcus Law, Nick Clemens, Rob Sutherland, Norbert Leitner, Stuart Bickley, Mike Pollard, Szilard Nagy, Richard Simner, and Alain McCain. And the last few not making it to the line: Pete Newman, Terje Flatten, Hacken Ask, Neil Rocks, and Oyston Herford. Not a good night for the For Remote podcast geodesic team, that's for sure. Well, Paul, it's been back and forth all day here between Guinness, McFarlane, Harrison. It's almost like it's even Stevens over the course of this race meeting. We go to Silverstone, all to play for.
Yeah, I mean, I'm having a look at the point standings. The they're getting updated, and what I can see so far, the latest, it's on the website as well if you are interested, worldsimracing.co.uk. 14 points separate the front three. So we're pretty much where we started tonight, so there was absolutely no point in us racing tonight. No, I'm kidding. It was tremendous stuff out there. The big change is in AM. Only 53 points separate Gilman and Dan Martin in this round. Gilman came in 95 points behind. I don't write off Andreas Gilman yet for the AM Championship.
Well, he's going to need another huge night. He's going to need another Knockhill, isn't he, when he goes to Silverstone? That's basically the difference. He's half the gap. He's got it to do it again all next week as well. So exciting here in the World Touring Car Series. What a season. It's been. One of the protagonists who came home in 9th position there in race number 3, Morgan Butler, joined us now. And over to you, Paul, with our Morgan.
Yeah, Morgan Butler, welcome along. I mean, you were in about that pace, weren't you, of the top 10 all evening? Just talk us through your race event here today.
I mean, first things, I just want to apologise to Terje. I think in that last race, I got a little bit too racy, a bit too red mist. So I just want to apologise, obviously, for that. But yeah, I mean, I think the pace was really good. I felt ridiculously confident in the car and how the car was acting all night. Every single bump felt right. Like, there didn't feel a moment where I was like, oh, the car's just done something weird. Oh, why has it done this? Why has it done that? Everything felt predictable and bang on for me, to be honest.
And you know, sort of with Knockhill, you know, how was the racing out there? Because from the commentary box, it looked really, really intense, especially in that sort of mid pack in the lower, you know, the teens. It was certainly really intense there.
Oh, it's super intense. You've always got to be absolutely on it. You know, you dip a wheel in the grass, you're losing a position, like every single time. There was quite a few moves I think I made where you're just kind of sitting behind, you're just being patient, wait till that wheel's dipped in the grass, and then you're making it obvious and you're going for it, because there's not, you know, loads of places to make a move here. So you've kind of got to go for something when there's the opportunity.
How is the mood in Pure Simps camp right now to try and is it very much a supportive, collaborative effort to try and help Ross get his second title here? Because he's only 14 points off of the championship right now.
I mean, I think the way a lot of us are kind of playing it is, if we have the opportunity to help out, we're helping out, but we're not kind of, Ross has kind of said to us a lot of the time, you know, not to go, you know, above and beyond, race our race, and if we can help, we can help. But, you know, he's kind of trying to make a very big point of, he's not, you know, trying to expect anybody to give anything up.
And going into next week then, Silverstone National, I mean, we're going to get more of the same round there, aren't we, surely?
Oh, more than likely. But I mean, again, it's another fun track to race touring cars around. Obviously, the same with this one. So it's going to be good fun again.
It certainly is. Morgan, well done on some good results here today, and all the best for next week.
Just in case I don't get to jump in next week, so I might have to jump out pretty sharpish. I just want to say, obviously, thank you to all of you boys in the comms booth and the broadcasting team, putting on some fantastic broadcasts all season long. It's been really wonderful to watch after the night of racing.
And please do send. I'll send you that brown envelope a little bit later on.
Oh,
Morgan,
yeah.
Thank you very much. Take care.
You too, guys.
There we go, Peter. Morgan Butler, always one for a comedic moment, but yeah, the points have been confirmed as being updated. So yeah, 14 points separating the top three in the championship. I can't wait for next week now.
Well, we came in with 13 covering the top three, 14 now covering the top three. Yeah, game on at Silverstone. Do not miss that, coming up on RaceSpotTV. Same time next week, 7:45 UK time. Myself, Peter Mackay, and Paul Smith will take you through all of the action, and with our wonderful producer, Conry Maddock, pressing all the buttons and switches. Spare a thought for him having to keep on top of all that action. We'll have it all for you here on RaceSpot TV. Do not miss it. The final round, the championship showdown. We'll see you there.